Why are you not celebrating your lunar returns? I know you probably celebrate your birthday every single year, and your birthday is the day that the sun returns back to the very same exact place that it was on the day that you were born. But do you know that the moon returns back to the place it was when you were born every single month, and that's your lunar birthday? Why are you not celebrating it? I don't get it. Why are there no other astrologers talking about this very important day? And it happens 12 times a year. That day is a very, very powerful day of the month for you. And you get 12 of these days. Why are you not celebrating them? Well, we're going to talk about that and so much more. Welcome back to my moon series. My name is Meredith. I'm your evolutionary astrologer, and I am so excited to bring you this video because it's going to be deep and it's going to be rich and it's going to slice open the moon for you like it hasn't been done before. Hopefully. This is a lot of new information for so many of you, and I have not found very many videos on this particular subject. We're going to talk about the moon phases. So you guys know by now, hopefully you've been watching my entire moon playlist, and if you haven't, please, after this video, go and watch the entire moon playlist. Not just the video that's your moon sign, but all of my moon sign videos, because I show you the underworld, the underbelly of each zodiac sign. And you have each sign in your chart somewhere, and you need to know how that energy operates and works inside your own chart. You need to know your lunar birthday. The only way you can know your lunar birthday is to know your moon sign. You should know every single month what day the moon moves back into your moon sign's position, because that's your good luck day, your heart's birthday, your emotional birthday. It is like the deepest part of your soul, and that should be celebrated and that should be manifested. That is like your personal new moon day every single month. Also, when you become a super supporter or a superstar supporter, I love you guys so much, I tell you what your most powerful day of the whole entire year is. And it's based on your moon sign, not your sun sign. And it is going to be one of those 12 days that the moon goes back to the place that it was at on the day that you were born. And it is the most powerful day of the entire year for you to manifest on. And when you become a super supporter, I reveal it to you. And by the way, the day changes every single year, and it's not your birthday. I call this day your dynamite day. And I got this formula from the beautiful, the wonderful, the amazing Jan Spiller. I'd like to credit the astrologers' work that I have incorporated into my own practice. And I like to give them credit loud and proud. They deserve it. They've worked so hard. And if you too want to use the material that you found on my channel, I hope that you might say that you learned a little bit of something from me as well. So pass it forward and send this video on to anybody who you think might benefit from it, and use this information in your own practice and in your own work. Have you ever sat and really thought about the disappearance of the moon each month? Try that on. Try that on. What do you think the first men and women and people on this planet back in, man's first days thought about when they looked at the ever-changing moon in the night sky and the ever-changing shape? It must have felt so mysterious and so magical. The moon is the fastest moving planet in our solar system. I know it's not actually a planet, it's a luminary. However, we just simplify it in astrology and we call it a planet. The moon not only changes in the placement in the sky, it changes its shape. And it even vanishes for 2.5 full days. So there are 8 phases of the moon, and we're going to talk about them in this video. But I am telling you, this information is so critical. It is so important. You cannot understand your emotional psychology to your own self and to others unless you understand deeply and profoundly your moon. That's why I want you to watch the whole playlist from start to finish. Now, I want to make a differentiation here. There is the zodiacal position of the moon. So which constellation was the moon at the time you were born? And then there is the phase of the moon. And the lunation cycle of the moon takes us from new moon all the way through the 8 phases back to the new moon. And it takes an average of 29 days and a half to get there. And it changes about every 2.5 days. It changes signs. The combined movements of the sun and the moon is an aspect. That's true. It is also one of 8 different phases of the moon too. So where the moon is in relationship to its master, the sun, will tell us what phase it is in. The moon is not really changing her shape. The sun is actually changing its light placed upon the moon. The moon receives. The moon is your reception to the world. How do you receive the world? So the moon receives the sun's power, and how it receives its power, its generator of light, will create the motivation in using that power, and that is described in the phase of the moon. So what's your moon phase? Do you know? Well, I am going to teach you how to figure it out. I'm going to make it easy for you to understand the soul that lives inside your body, which, by the way, this body is like a library book on loan to you, hopefully for 100 years. But you have to understand your sun's relationship to the moon. Your moon sign is imperative to know, and I hope you guys all know what it is. And because it moves so quickly, it's best to know your birth time, especially if you are born on one of those 12 days of the months where it changes. If you're born on a day when the moon is changing, we really need to know your birth time. Secondly, you need to understand the aspects your moon makes to all the other planets. It's absolutely critical, but especially to your sun sign and your rising sign. And last, you really need to know what moon phase you were born under. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Now, why is this important? The phase that you were born under will tell us your soul's relationship to your identity in this lifetime. And with the moon being the deepest part of you, the parts of you that I cannot see or I cannot know unless you invite me in, the moon is your heart. It's your emotional self. And it is the soul of you. The sun is your essence. It's your identity, sort of your personality, who you are and who I can see you to be. And it is your ego. The sun is your life in this lifetime. What the relationship is inside of you between your moon and your sun will shape every single experience in your life. The moon phase will also tell me something about your life giver, your mother. Since you needed her to live and stay alive for 9 months in creation, she's critical to you. Even if you don't like her personality, her rising sign or sun sign, she is the life bearer of you. The moon phase will also show us that karmic relationship. One important thing to know is, were you born under a waxing phase or a waning phase? A waxing phase when the light was growing, and that is between the new moon and the full moon, or were you born in the waning phase, full moon to the new moon? And those are 2 very different phases of the moon. You can just slice it right down in half. And one is the light bringers, and one brings in the darkness. Now, it doesn't mean that is the shadow, or that is the darkness as in the shadow side. It doesn't mean that. We're going to go into it. So each moon phase is 45 degrees. And the different phases in order are, we start with the new moon, then we go to the waxing crescent. So that's the crescent that's getting bigger. Then we go to the first quarter. Then we go to the waxing gibbous phase. Then we get to the full moon. Then we're in the waning phases and we go to the waning gibbous. Then we go into the last quarter moon. Then we go into the waning crescent moon. And then I want to make a special note right here. There's also one more phase. It's the 9th phase. It really is at the tail end of this waning crescent phase, but we call it the dark moon. And it is, in technicality, the degrees might be similar to a new moon, but it's when the moon is behind the sun, not in front of the sun, but it is when there is no light at all. It's the very last degrees of that waning crescent, and we call that the dark moon. But that's sort of a phase inside a phase. I have a new report in my store, and I called it the Quickie Moon Phase Report, and it's super inexpensive, and I recommend you all go get it. But what it does is it will teach you about all the phases. It's kind of the Cliff Notes version of this video, and you can see what your natal phase is, your natal moon phase, and what you were born under, because I'm going to tell you that it gets a little bit tricky with degrees. It really depends what degree your sun sign is at, and if you're at a late degree sun sign or an early degree sun sign, your moon might actually be in the other phase. So I highly recommend you get this report just to double check. What it also does in this report is it gives you your moon phase report by progression. Because the moon moves so quickly, every 2.5 years, your moon is going to progress into the next sign, and it's going to create a whole new moon phase for you. So what moon phase are you in right now by progression is probably very different than the moon phase you were born with. And you need to take both into account. So if you're in a dark moon phase right now, you need to know that, because that is the ending of all endings. That's not a time to create a new beginning, right? You have to wait until you move into a new moon phase, which won't be very long if you're in the dark moon phase. But I wouldn't want you to start your new project on that dark moon. I'd want you to wait until you get a new moon. That's why progressed moon phases are critical to understand your life right now. So it's called my Quickie Moon Phase Report, and you can go find it in my shop. It really works a lot better if you have your birth time. However, if you don't have your birth time, but you have your birthday, it'll still be close enough. It'll still be worth getting. It's kind of important for you to know what your partner's moon phase is, what your mother's moon phase is, your father's, your child's, your best friend's. It's kind of important. You'll kind of get to see their emotional temperament through a new lens. So remember, you need to know their moon sign. That's important. You need to know the aspects the moon makes, especially to their sun and their rising, and you've got to know your moon phase. First, there's the waxing and the waning moon phases, those two cycles, I should say. And if you have, again, a new moon, a waxing crescent, a first quarter moon, or a waxing gibbous moon, then you have this deep internal drive to just think of the light getting bigger, to go out into the world and be the light. You are a manifester. You are an enthusiastic doer, and you are more hopeful about growing and going. While not all of the moon aspects are just simple or easy, your moon is about expansion, growth, adventure, opportunity, and putting yourself out there. And there's a little bit of an enthusiastic impatience in you. There is an aliveness inside of you. And you can be more gullible and a little bit naive and childlike, wanting to satiate your curiosity about life. There's a liveliness inside of you, and you can be a little bit more aggressive, barreling through others and over talking, over giving, over feeling, over expressing. You can kind of be on the shadow side, a little too loud, a little too aggressive, a little too forceful, a little out there. You can be a little overexposed. These people, the waxing people, if you will, want to courageously expand into the world out there, and they want to just dive into the deep end of the pool, into new experiences, and just try them on. They want to take risks. They like to kind of gamble. They have a trust in the universe, and they kind of believe that things are gonna be okay. They might not know exactly where their ship is headed, but they have a curiosity about life and a trust in the universe a little bit more than the waning folks. Did I just say folks? Don't even say that word. Than the waning moon people. Now on to the waning moon, folks. If you have a full moon, a waning gibbous moon, a last quarter moon, or a waning crescent moon, well, then you have a waning moon phase, moon cycle. And these people are reflective and thoughtful, and there's a reserve about them. And then these people are not as much as doers, but they sit in the essence of being. They're more contemplative and they value wisdom and thinking things through. They're a little more guarded and they're a little more cautious in exposing themselves. They're not the ones running naked through the streets, metaphorically speaking. They cherish the past, where the waxing moon people cherish creating the future. They can be a little bit more prone to depression and melancholy and even feel more vulnerable at times. They can lack self-esteem. They're more in touch with death and goodbyes and losses. And the waxing phase people are more in touch with hellos and new beginnings. These waning moon people are souls that can and even need to withdraw from reality and go within. And where do they go? They go deep into their consciousness. They sink into their internal worlds of imagination and intuition. There's a desire to understand the world at the unseen level, in the layers of life that we cannot see. They go to the intangible places in the world. They like to deeply understand and observe the inner world, the internal world, the world from your heart and soul's perspective. Now, I'm not trying to say one is better than the other, and you may not even truly feel your moon phase. You may have a super outgoing sun or Jupiter or rising sign, and then the waning moon phase can be a little bit overshadowed. And if this is you, you need to really sit still and be with yourself to feel the undercurrents of your moon phase. So I also have a little moon calendar. It's nothing fancy. It's just a list. I sell it for the entire year. It's on my shop tab at soulnavigation.com. But what I love about it and why you need a moon calendar, you don't have to get one from me, but if you just want to run over there and get it, we just print it out. And again, it's nothing fancy. All it is a list. But what is really dynamic about it and what is better about this particular listing, it's a list of the moon for the entire year. And what I do is I show you the exact moment in time. So if you do order this report, you need to tell me what time zone you want it printed in. That is critical. Otherwise, you'll get my time zone over here in Seattle, and that's not going to help you in Bucharest. Anyways, it shows you the movement and the phase of the moon on a daily basis. It shows you every single day for the whole entire year. And you can see when you're having your monthly lunar birthdays. So you can see your most powerful days of the month. What I want you to do is I want you to write out on your calendar those VIP days. But the reason why I love this listing that I created is because I show you the exact moment the moon changes signs, and then I show you the exact day that it leaves that sign too. So you get to track the moon down in the minutia of its movements, and you can actually, when you start to synchronize your life with the moon, oh my God, it's powerful. It is so powerful. And you want to do business transactions and romantic transactions under good moon phases and good moon signs. You want to work with, and this is how I help people get pregnant. And I've probably had in my career, over 20 successful pregnancies based on the timing of the moon. So the moon shows fertility. So if you're somebody who's struggling with fertility and you really want to know, I wish I could tell you all the secrets of everybody who I've helped get pregnant. This one client, she came to me and she was like, I really want to get pregnant. And I feel like my husband's going to divorce me if I don't get pregnant. We've been trying for 7 years. And she said, what night is the best night to get pregnant? And I looked at the moon calendar and her moon in the moon phase. And I was like, I cannot believe this. And she said, what? And I said, it's tomorrow night after 5 o'clock. And she's like, no way. But that's Friday and he's going on a business trip. And I said, do you want to have a baby? And she goes, yes. I said, he needs to cancel his business trip. She goes, I can't tell him to do that. And I said, well, then don't have a baby. But I'm just telling you, I am just freaking telling you, that is your most fertile day of the month and one of the most fertile days of the entire year. And if not this day, we have to wait until, XYZ. She goes, oh my God, I don't know what to do. She walked out of there. She was ghost white. She called me 3 days later and she said, well, he canceled his business trip. So So I don't know. I don't know if we are. I am not lying. She got pregnant and she had her baby. You should read this testimonial letter that she wrote me on just how her whole entire life was changed and how she would just never forget that reading. So the moon is so profound. So if you are wanting to set yourself up with great moon energy to help yourself get pregnant, you should book a consultation with me. You should book a reading with me. I'm booked a little bit far out in advance, but you can also book with any of the other readers here at Team Soul Navigation. If you can't get on my calendar, you can try to get on theirs. All you do is click book a reading and on soulnavigation.com, and you can see each one of our schedules and our prices. It all varies. And also for anybody who's a super supporter or superstar supporter, you guys get 10% off of your readings with anybody from my team on Team Soul Navigation. Not me, but my team members are giving discounted readings to any superstar, super supporters, or super supporters. Oh my God, say that 3 times fast. So anyway, that's why I really love my moon calendar, because I show you the exact in and outs of each sign, and the moon moves fast. I mean, you blink and it's a new moon, so I don't want you to miss those days. And I give you the calendar for the whole year from the day that you order it. Just remember to write to us at teamsoulnavigation@gmail.com and tell me what time zone you're in. Okay, so if you are born with the moon in front of the sun, you know that each phase is 45 degrees and there's 30 degrees per sign. So if your sun is at 0 degrees Aries, if your moon is between 0 degrees Aries and 15 degrees Taurus, then you have a new moon. So it creeps into the next sign a little bit. It can. It's just, is it within 45 degrees of your sun sign? And if it is, you're born under a new moon, and it acts a little bit like an Aries. So even if you have that in Capricorn, your new moon is in Capricorn, you have to just imagine an Aries filter on top of that Capricorn moon. And if you don't know what that means, please, please, please go watch my Aries moon sign video. If you're born with a new moon, you have to watch my Aries moon sign video. And you really should watch my entire Aries playlist so you can understand the hunger and the thirst and the ferocity of an Aries, because that is how your moon will behave. These are the enthusiastic, light-giving leaders that never give up. These people have this charisma and they're trailblazers, and they project themselves into action like rocket fuel. This is when you look up into the sky, the dark moon. It is the dark moon, but it's the dark new moon. It is birthing something. It is literally the moment when there is this spark. In order for it to be a new moon, the moon has to be in front of, moving towards the next sign in sequence. So it goes Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and then Pisces. So in that order, and it has to be in front of. You do not have a new moon if you are, a Sagittarius at 0 degrees and you have a Scorpio moon at 29 degrees. That's not a new moon. That's a waning crescent or dark moon. Now, I want to tell you, I personally call that moon a balsamic moon. And that is when there is just the smallest sliver of light, just like dental floss. It is the last breath of the moon. And that's when the moon is behind the sun. I'm talking about the new moon, and the new moon is when the moon is in front of the sun, even by 1 degree, even by 1 minute. These are emotionally strong people, and they have highly condensed energy that gives off this Aries type of feeling, like I mentioned. You have to combine that Aries energy with your moon's sign. If the moon's degree number is higher than the sun's degree number, then you have a new moon. And let's say it's in Pisces, but it has an Aries filter or an Aries energy to it. So it's like a spiritual warrior, a spiritual badass, spiritually courageous, okay? And you blend the two energies. And then the house matters. And I pray that you guys have seen my videos, Sun Through the Houses, and just apply the moon's energy, but the house meanings are the same. It's a lot of layers. It's really important that you layer this cake. And it's also important to remember that we don't do sun sign astrology on this channel. We're not doing fast food astrology. Although I am thinking that fast food astrology might be my next series of videos. So we can go fast, quick, and dirty. So we're making a cake with a lot of different ingredients. And with the new moon, you're actually going to attract, I'm just going to tell you right now, you're going to attract challenges and obstacles. You're going to be running you're the marathon runners. Just like Aries attracts obstacles. Aries always attracts a good fight. That's why I want you to watch my Aries playlist. And they attract tests and challenges. This strengthens your resolve and gives your life, I should say, meaning, value, and purpose. These people have a fearlessness inside of them, and these people usually have a very deep attachment to their mother. They are defined in some way by their mother. Their mothers shaped their world and enmeshed themselves into their lives. They're just like enmeshed into each other. It is very difficult to detach from mother, leave mother. They have a deep obligation and probably love to mother. These are the people where the umbilical cord did not get cut. Who in your life has a new moon? Who do you know? What's their relationship to mother like? Now, if that new moon aspect, the sun and the moon together are in hard aspect to Pluto or Uranus or Mars, that might be a love-hate relationship. So you do have to take the whole thing into consideration. But usually these people are inseparable with their mothers, and they either become an extension of their mother's life or their mother becomes an extension of their life. But these people are here to beat the odds. Look at Jackie Robinson. He was the very first African-American to play in Major League Baseball, and he did it with so much racism, so much discrimination, so many challenges, so many just heart-breaking, heart-aching challenges. And he was born with a new moon in Aquarius, and he woke the world. He did. He woke up the whole entire world on that subject. These people are here to learn to follow their hearts, follow their passions, to blaze their trails and not to look back. Look at Prince William. You know, he had his moon in Cancer, and his mom, Princess Diana, was a Cancer, and he had a new moon in Cancer. He's a Cancer with a moon in Cancer, and he was so close to her and still is to her death. And he never cut the umbilical cord. And sadly, you know, she died before he even could. So another thing I haven't really talked about is knowing the void of course moons. Now, if you're a super supporter, you get all my behind the scene videos, and I go much deeper into lessons, and I am developing my master classes for my superstar super supporters, and that will come out in probably 30 days time. And once you're a superstar super supporter for 3 months, you get to join those master classes, and you are going to learn so much. I'm literally taking all of this inside of me and I'm giving it to you. That's coming, and that's going to be so exciting. So come and really learn deeply with me as a superstar super supporter, or come and just get all my members only videos. There's tons more perks. You can go check the notes below and see everything that you get. But I did this void of course moon video for my members only. So if you haven't found that video, please go search for that. But I have this moon tracker report. It's also very, very simple. You will get a listing of all the void of course moons. Now, why is a void of course moon important to know? And why I like this report is because I designed it with the exact enter date, the exact minute that the moon is void, and the exit. So you see the entire time by the minute. The void of course moon is when you need to do absolutely nothing, that you do not want to get married on a void of course moon. You do not want to start a new project. It's literally when there is no energy, and you need to know your void of course moons. You absolutely need to time your life around a void of course moon. That's kind of why some of my clients didn't get pregnant. They were trying to conceive under a void of course moon. There's no aspect. In a void of course moon, there's literally no aspect to the moon. The moon is unaspected. So let's talk about the next moon, and that is the waxing crescent. And these people have a vitality about them. And this moon phase creates an urge to step into action and to achieve something. These are the moon signs that are 1 or 2 signs ahead of the sun. They're 45 degrees to 90 degrees. Okay, so the moon is 45 degrees to 90 degrees ahead of the sun. And there are so many breakouts and standouts of famous people. Look at the people who have this waxing crescent. Personally, I think this is actually the prettiest moon in the night sky. Look at Galileo, for example. He was a Pisces with an Aries moon, and he was so confident in believing that the sun, not the earth, was the center of the universe. Everybody believed that the earth was the center of the universe, and he was so confident. He told the entire world, "You people are wrong." He was that confident. He was correct. They were wrong, and he knew it. You know, Martin Luther King and Elvis Presley both were Capricorns with moons in Pisces. And so they had this crescent moon, this waxing crescent phase moon. They were 2 signs away. The moon was 2 signs away from their sun. And I don't need to go into their greatness, because if you're on this channel, you are smarty pants galore and you know everything that they accomplished. But those are just 2 extraordinary men that changed the world forever in their own slice of the pie. And Indira Gandhi, Scorpio with a Capricorn moon. 2 moon signs, 2 signs away. These are the fearless leaders that just go for it, and they won't back down, and they are driven by how hard their past were. They usually had very, very, very challenging past lives, or past lives within this lifetime. They usually came from some sort of setback or hardship that created this unstoppable drive, just this hunger and this vitality and this energy where they were not going to accept no for an answer. All no did was make them try harder. Stephen Forrest, one of my great mentors and teachers, he calls these people the extremists. And now we know why. And there's a hunger in their bellies. Their vitality is infectious, and they are going to be damned if they don't create some sort of greatness out of their life and out of their circumstances. They want to change their circumstances. They don't want their circumstances to define them. These people are on fire. Can't you just feel it? Tell me if this is your moon sign. Tell me if your moon sign is this, 45 to 90 degrees away from your sun. And do you have this kind of rumble inside of you? This moon is a growing crescent. It is so gorgeous. It's one of the prettiest moons in the night sky. And these people are big manifestors. It's like there's a lot of torque in the engine with these moon sign people. I should say moon phase people. This is sort of like the teenager who thinks they're invincible and stands up against their superiors and tells them to, buzz off. This is the phase that makes shit happen. This is the get shit done phase. So there's no sitting around and contemplating life. This is a get up and go moon phase. There is a faith within oneself with this moon phase. And these people believe in themselves. And I should say they believe in their mission in life. And on the shadow side, these people can become neurotic, and they can use other people to their advantage to get their agenda done. And they can really end up paying a super high price for fame and fortune and for success and for being right. And these people have a really, really, really sucky relationship with boredom. They cannot stand being bored. So Madonna has this moon phase, and Beyonce, Clint Eastwood, Mae West, Britney Spears. Hello, can we say Britney Spears? Oh my God. If anybody knows Britney out there, tell her I want to give her a reading. But these people will need to create a mission worthy of their lives, and then go out there and achieve that very mission. So the first quarter moon, it's a 50-50. It's half dark and half light. This is also a more difficult phase to have because it's in a square aspect. It is 90 degrees to 130 degrees ahead of the sun. When the moon is 3 signs ahead of your sun sign. So again, if you're an Aries, this would be 3 signs ahead, like Cancer. Now, it also depends. If you're born on the 29th degree of Aries, it might not be exactly in Cancer, because we do the phases based on degrees And doing it on signs is just a rough guesstimate. Not always, but it's often in the same exact modality. So if your sun sign is cardinal and your moon sign is cardinal, then this is your moon phase. This moon has half of her face lit and half of her face shadowed. The light and the darkness have become perfectly balanced, and yet they're not. They're kind of in conflict with themselves. So these people are driven out there in the world to solve problems. And because they have internal or relationship crises, and this is the phase that which won't kill you will make you stronger. If these people take on their challenges, they can end up pretty well and powerful and emotionally equipped to pretty much handle anything in life. The first quarter moon people are really, really different than the third quarter moon people. So the third quarter moon people, it's also a 50-50 light and dark, but it's flipped. Although you can't really tell in the night sky. That's why you need the moon tracker. So these people go out into the world to solve their problems, and they can be confrontational in seeking answers to the problems that arise in their life. And they need to create resolutions, and they are not, even if they're Libras, they don't avoid conflict. They can do conflict head on. They want answers. These people, I think, probably had harder relationships with their moms, and their moms might have created immense conflict or mixed messages, therefore turmoil for them. Maybe they were supportive and well-intentioned, but it didn't always come across that way. These people may have felt not loved enough or nurtured enough, or they weren't taught how to be soft in their emotional expressions of love. And this moon phase can bring on a good amount of emotional pain that this moon phase person is here to actually heal. And I think it's through forgiveness that they're being asked to heal. There's somebody or something that they will need to forgive. The cardinal signs, so if you have a Cancer or a Capricorn sun with an Aries or Libra moon, for example, or if you have an Aries or Libra sun with a Cancer or Capricorn moon, this usually brings a drive and a force to solve problems with just massive, massive energy. And if you're in the fixed modality, then this gives you a lot of grit and stamina, kind of a stubbornness, kind of an unrelentless power about you. And then if you're in the mutable family, this gives you kind of an ability to be flexible, adaptable, and make chess moves in order to find your way, solve your problems, make amends. There's sort of a gymnast quality. There's an ability to do all kinds of maneuvers. There's a tension in these people's lives that actually grows these people. I mean, when I was learning about how to really take care of my roses, you know how intermittent fasting is a big thing. One of the things I learned was to really grow a strong rose bush was to deprive them of their water. So their roots had to stretch way, way, way out. And they had to work extra hard to get water from the plant next to them, or to water them very little to make them so much stronger. And that's kind of how this phase operates or works. This tension grows them. The tension comes from what they want and desire in their life, and then what they actually get. The collision of that, basically not getting that which I wanted or desired, creates tension, creates discord and upset. You know, Stephen taught me about this moon sign in one of his classes, how in this aspect there's a metaphoric, or maybe not even so metaphoric, but there's a metaphoric willingness to die for a cause with this moon phase. And he talked about this moon phase as creating a martyred hero archetype, like Jesus, literally being willing to go on the cross, like a suicide bomber. I know none of us are that, but there's a willingness to martyr my life for a cause. Gosh, you could even just say the military, you know, there's a willingness to sacrifice my life for our freedoms. This moon has the light and the dark in collision, and it's like dreams versus reality. The urgency and vitality of life clash with the resistance or the wall or the restrictions of life, you know, like running into a brick wall. And tell me if that's not frustrating as all get out. These people over time, though, develop a courage to take a stance and to fight for something that they believe in, you know? They need to bring into manifestation something that they believe in so strongly that they would die for it. They come into this lifetime with a will to die for a very noble cause. And if you have this moon phase, tell me, what noble cause are you willing to die for? Can you relate to this? Even if you have a Pisces or a Libra moon, there's this feeling inside of you. It's just that your cause is probably going to be some Piscean or some Libra thing, probably love. You probably would be willing to die for love in some way. Two great examples of this are Eminem, the singer rapper, and Jack Kevorkian, you know, who really fought for the rights of people to choose their own death and to die by lethal injection if they wanted. So another thing that I want to do, but it is such a giant topic, and I did this for my members only on Mars. I did an out of bounds Mars video, an out of bounds planets video, but I really focused on Mars, but I want to do an out of bounds moon video. So is your moon out of bounds? And I want to do a whole entire video, so I might do it at the end. I still have more moon signs to get through. It feels like endless, but you guys voted, and I did this video because I had more than 500 votes on that poll that I put up in on my community page. I couldn't believe it. I didn't even think I'd get 100. You guys wanted this video, so I'm doing it. So here's one of my natal charts that I designed. This is how gorgeous they are. They're just so beautiful. And if you guys pull out your natal chart, I want you to go get your gorgeous natal chart, and I email these to you so you can print it out 100 times, write on it, mark it up. I want you to bring your gorgeous natal charts to every single video that I do. I have more than 350 videos, and I have like 35 members only videos. So the library is growing, and I want you to write on this, and I want you to use this so you can really go deep into your chart. So if you have one of my newer natal charts, gorgeous natal charts, what I want you to do to see if you have an out of bounds moon is go over here to the column, and yours might not look exactly like this because I changed some of the colors, but over here there's a little column that says declinations. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it right there. Declinations. So I want you to look there to see if you have an out of bounds moon, and you're going to look for anything that says 23 S or N, that's south or north, 28. So it's got to be higher than 23 degrees, 28 minutes. So if it says 23, 29, or if it says 23 S, 29 or higher, then you have an out of bounds moon. And you can see if you have any planets out of bounds. Now, the asteroids don't count, so don't look at the asteroids, and neither does the MC. Only look to Pluto. The sun never goes out of bounds, by the way. So that's how you're going to find out. And I hope you guys all purchased one of these gorgeous natal charts, because I just have so many of the important information, so you can read all of this over here if you don't yet know how to read your circle. And these are only $10, and they're just gorgeous, and they're so darn easy to read. God, I don't know how to read some of the charts that I find for free on the internet. I just think they're so poorly done because they don't have the exact minutes. I don't get it. They don't have, like, the exact cusps are not shown. I don't know if you guys can see this, but do you see how I show you the exact cusps? And you just don't get that in those other free charts. And it's all color coded, so it's so helpful. Okay, so let's keep going to the waxing gibbous moon. Now, this is really just a lot of information for you. So I think I'm going to have to finish this with a part 2 to get through all 8 phases and the 9th little phase, that balsamic moon inside the waning crescent. This moon phase is just really lovely. It's so pretty. I don't love the way that it looks actually, but it's such a beautiful phase. The meaning and the concept and the archetypes is so beautiful. This moon is 135 degrees to 180 degrees apart from the sun, with the moon 4 or 5 signs ahead of the sun. It's a little bit bigger than just half of the moon, but it's not quite the full moon. And so it's a lot of light. So this moon is going to be either trine or quincunx. And if you don't know what quincunx is, I just highly recommend you watch my video called When Your Sun Signs Are Not Compatible. I really highly recommend you watch that video so you can understand quincunxes if you have this moon phase. It's really important that you understand because there's a very complex relationship inside the quincunx aspect. So you're either going to have a trine, which is easy and harmonious, or the quincunx. And if they're 4 signs apart, you're going to be in trine. Your moon will be in trine to your sun. And they're in the same element. So the earth signs will be, you'll have an earth sun and an earth moon, a fire sun, a fire moon, a water sun, a water moon, or an air sun and an air moon. And if they're 5 signs apart, then they're in quincunx relationship and they have nothing in common, nothing, not element, not modality, nothing, no thing in common. They don't speak the same language and it's a very fascinating relationship. I won't say though that it's in conflict. It's actually quite creative, but it's like your soul, the deepest parts of your soul or your moon speak Chinese and your mind understands it in English. So I know there's a lot of people out there that have that. For those of us who don't know a second language, it's like these two parts of you speak in completely foreign languages to one another. There's a little bit more of an easiness to this phase of the moon. And these are usually very helpful people wanting to contribute to life in a very meaningful and profound way. And they usually devote themselves to improving or helping society. And they like growing themselves, growing their worlds, growing their partnerships, growing their people. And there is a vivaciousness. There's kind of a sexiness and a charm and a loveliness to these people, and they like to be in service to others. They like partnerships. They like teamwork. They're team players, and they have a very generous spirit and a creativity inside of them. And there's usually sort of a lovely expression about these people. And this is the very last phase of the outward waxing phase people. But these people are the great collaborators. Here we don't battle through challenges like the previous phases, but instead we have a curiosity about life. And we want to try on our differences. We want to try on different perspectives. We want to blend. We want to compromise. We want to work together to create a merging, a synthesis. It's like we're all in this together. We see these people with this moon phase as engaged in life, creative in their pursuits, and co-creating reality with others. Togetherness is a goal. These people have a genuine generosity about them, a lightness, a willingness to help and work and serve others. These people sort of swim with the dolphins, and they like to synergistically line up with others and help propel great missions with good causes forward. And on the shadow side, these people can truly lose themselves in others. They can become total codependents, and they can merge with the wrong people. They can trust bad people. They can be gullible. They can enter into bad deals with bad people, getting duped and being vulnerable if they're not self-developed and if they don't have a wisdom about themselves. They can be overgivers. These people have a need and they crave relationships that are deeply meaningful, and they have the potential to really change the world and their world through these relationships. Think of Bono. He is a great example of somebody who's a collaborator. And I don't think he's selfish. I think he's such a giving man. Also, William Shakespeare, another interesting person, because I do see this as a very cerebral, more like an air sign. So even Gemini, it's even a little bit of a Gemini energy where there's a great networker. This has a great networking aspect to it. So I found it interesting that Bill Gates has this aspect too. But these people grow their soul by feeding it love and companionship and unions. So I cannot wait to tell you about the rest of the phases. Next time, we're going to talk about the full moon phase. And the full moon phase is when your sun is in direct opposition to the moon. And that is no small thing. Full moon people have such a big karmic contract in this lifetime. We all do, but they have a big karmic contract with their moon, and that is so huge. And then after that is the disseminating moon. The disseminating moon is really fascinating. Then we have that last quarter moon sign. And then we have the waning crescent moon. I personally call it the balsamic moon, but some astrologers call it the waning crescent. So that's kind of the new terminology, but I call it the balsamic moon personally. I just studied it that way and that's how I say it, but that is the same moon. And then that balsamic moon goes down to the little tiniest slice. And if you're born with a balsamic moon, oh my God, there's such tenderness in it. So I'm going to go through those moon phases next. I really want to share with you about the void of course moon and the importance of knowing it. And I also want to do an out of bounds moon video. So tell me if you're interested in those. And if you want me to skip it, then I don't want to waste my time if nobody's interested in it. But if you are interested in it, would you please leave me a comment? Also, would you share my videos? I would be so grateful if we could push them out there just a little bit more. I don't know why, they don't get as much traffic as some of these other videos that I see out there that have half the information. And I'm baffled. I don't know why, but I want you guys to know that I just absolutely love and adore you. And thank you for being super supporters and superstar supporters. If you're a subscriber, in your comments when you leave them, will you let me know that you're a subscriber? Because I want to answer my super supporters. I can see who they are. I want to answer my superstar super supporters. Every single comment a superstar super supporter leaves, I will comment on. And if you are a subscriber, I would also like to comment on your question or your comment because I really, truly value you. All right, you guys, take good care. I hope you're wonderful. Happy New Year. And I hope so much you got some juicy, juicy fruit out of this video. Bye for now.